turn down the music a little bit here. And we should be live, so I can remove my starting soon and just get us rolling. So I figured start a little early. Got to mute the feedback there from LinkedIn. Awesome. Here we are. Okay. So why not just jump right into it? So continuing on with the idea that Courtney and I set up a couple weeks ago, share some music, right? So the song I want to share today is "Moving Out" by Billy Joel, and the reason I'm sharing this is because I've got a gig. You might notice one of my drum sets is missing. I'm currently set up at a high school for a spring choir, like pops choir concert that we're going to be playing for on Monday evening. So this is one of the tunes that we're playing in the choir concert. And Billy Joel is such a sleeper um, artist to me. I know he's hugely famous, influential, fantastic, lots of really good music, but he's just never been one of those artists that comes top of my mind. The piano rock genre is not my forte. Um, but every time I hear a Billy Joel song, I like it. And I think the only time I've actually heard or really played Billy Joel songs for the most part has been at this choir concert. I've done this choir concert for quite a few years out there, and we quite often will play at least one Billy Joel tune. Probably because one, he's famous, it's good pop music, good songs, but also it's piano driven, and we only ever have piano, bass, and drums. So it works really well for the instrumentation as well. Um, and yeah, this "Moving Out" song has got a really good halftime. It's a pretty vibey, grooving tune. So if you're a Billy Joel fan, let me know what other Billy Joel tunes I should check out in the comments. If you've never heard of Billy Joel, check this out. I saw something in a sidebar from an article saying that this album, "The Stranger," um, was highly regarded to some degree. Again, I'm kind of ignorant of the whole Billy Joel thing, other than knowing that he's very famous and very good. So check that out. I'll probably be checking out more. Oh, this is actually playing muted this whole time. uh, check it out. I'll be checking out more of his music probably in the future. Um, cool. So that piece of business out of the way. Um, let's see. I want to check and see if we've got. Do we have anybody here? Maybe, maybe not. I guess we'll see. Leave comments. Um, cool. We'll just keep pushing ahead. So, um, picking up where I left off last time, flying solo. Courtney is not here. He's back from Europe, but is not feeling well. Imagine that, spending a bunch of time in airplanes and airports, and you come down with something. So, flying solo again this week, which is kind of exciting because I wanted to jump back into what I was doing last week with looking at these implementing Google Maps inside of Next through some sort of a React library. And I did some to retrace just a little bit. This video, excellent video by web dev Cody. He goes in here into how to work with a particular. Let's see if I can find his particular import statement. Here we go. So React Google Apps/API. And so I went and I checked that out. I was incorrect last time in saying that and this here, React Google Maps, are the same library. They are not. Although their syntax is nearly identical. So clearly, I think this was the newer one made by a different group. So this one has taken some inspiration from the other, which is older. And this one has a documentation page. I looked up. Let me organize my tabs here. This is the GitHub for React Google Maps API, which is the one that web dev Cody is using. And I clicked around and let's see, like this one here, Netlify. So some documentation. It's broken. So if you guys are watching, your site is down. And then the README is here. They got some stuff here, and then migrating information, some other basic examples. And this here again, official docs. It's broken. So um, I think I also at the time kind of incorrectly judged this repo by looking at the timestamps over here, and I'm seeing like 2 years, 4 years, 5 years. But a bunch of those files are files that you're going to like do once and done and never touch again. This is actually updated 2 months ago. The core package here 3 months ago. This one app 3 months ago updated. So there's it's still being maintained. It's still active. It's probably still perfectly fine, and probably really really good. But without the documentation and with this package having such clear documentation, I decided to go with this one. That was my decision. So sorry, React Google Maps API. I will keep you in mind for the future, but I'm not. I'm not using you as of now. With that said, then this is the package React Google Maps. This is the one for this documentation here that I found. It's very very similar, um, and their documentation so far has been really really good. And it doesn't have nearly the number of stars and everything, but it seems to be pretty competent and capable. So I was working on that in my own project, um, for the side project that's going to be using these sorts of things and diving into using some of these components and making things work. But Upskill and Chill is not just about importing a library and putting stuff on screen and saying, "Hey, look, I'm a developer." And what I started last week, if we all remember, let me bring my exit that out. What we did last week, I'll bring up my terminal here, is that we went into, and I think this is incorrectly cited as being a hook, even though there's a hook in here. I wanted to recreate, if I can keep bringing this stuff on and off, this idea that there's a provider that wraps and provides the API key down to the map, and then and then the marker would be the next step. And that's kind of the thing I'm interested in doing. I have the API provider to map. Um, so what I'm talking about here, let's take a step back, is engineering the files and components to function in the way that this library is functioning. And just trying to figure that out for the fun of it, right? Just for the fun of it, the learning of it, the diving into behind the library, and not just doing the library stuff, not just using the library and putting a map on the screen and then giving it markers, but like, can we recreate this? Because I'm spending time outside of the stream, uh, just using this, trying to produce something for my project. But maybe I can use this time to dive into like a little test. I'm curious. My curiosity is, how do I go about putting a marker here as a custom component, sending the position in this syntax, and then inside the map component, pulling that out and putting it on the map, right? That's what I'm interested in trying to do today. I just want to see if I can get that to work, just for the fun of it, um, and for the learning of it, right? So last we left off, I wanted to review this real quick because this was a fun. This is the provider. And so we created a context, right? We typed it. And then I was realizing after the fact, after I was kind of thinking about this again, that this is our functional component, right? This is the map provider component. And let's actually see if we go to provider, map provider. I would like to try and find this. I don't have the names of all of my um, here. All of my files memorized in this project yet, but just in this page, this is where we're using it, right? We're bringing in our API key from our .env, putting it as map API key into the provider, and then that is being passed to the Google Map here. So then let's make another tab and let's go to a Google Map component, and then map provider here. I'm going to start trying to navigate with Vim just to practice that instead of doing all the mouse stuff, because the mouse actually isn't even rendering well on the stream. So here, down here, the use map context. So here's the pattern that I noticed. Okay, stepping back a couple. Sorry. We create a context here outside the component in this file, right? So we have three elements here. We have the context. We have the component, the map provider component itself, and then we have the hook, right? Those are three different blocks here that I kind of came to this realization after the fact, because I just kind of copied this down um, and got it working. But we have three different blocks that are independent from each other. We create the context on its own out here in this scope so that both the provider and the hook can have access to it, right? Um, if I'm not messing that up. Okay, it's really so that the map, so the hook has access to the context. Because actually not a lot of there's no overlap between the context and the component. Okay, now I'm second guessing the thought I had away from the code and coming back to the code. Because the hook is being exported. So the hook and the context could be pulled out to their own file. They don't have to be in here with the provider, right? Because the provider is self-contained. We're taking in the props, the map, the key, and the children, which are React nodes. We're destructuring them here. We have some state that we're setting as the key that's passed in. And then, no, here. This is, let's, there. There we go. I had to use my Vim stuff. So, no, I'm incorrect. I was correct my first time. I just had to, it wasn't in the place that I thought. So yes, we are creating the context here in this scope so that map provider and use map context both have access to that created context. Because we have created a context that has this shape, the map API key and the update API key. Yep. And then the provider is going to return. We're going to take this map context, which we have scope to, access to inside of this component, map context provider, and we're wrapping the children of map provider in that provider and passing it through, which then gives them access um, to the map API key and update API key. And then we're also using the use map context is also building. It's going to use context. It's going to use this context that we created here to create context and return that context. So this just pulls this context, this piece of context here. We can import use map context, and then that's going to access this piece of context within our component to give us access to these items, the map API key and the update, which is also here, right? So here in Google Maps, then we have the use map context. I'm back to using my mouse again, but it's just easier for demonstration, I guess. Use map context. We get our map API key. We could also get our update API key. I don't think we really actually need to even be exporting that because we're not setting that outside of this component. I think that was just a holdover from the example that I used. But anyways, so let's map API key from here. And then inside of our Google Map, which is this, which now has access because it's wrapped by that provider, we can use that API key when we initialize our Google Map. And now the map here, right, our map ref refers to, here we go, map ref, new map, and we're passing it the ref to hook it up to this div. And that's how we get our actual map. So this is the manual way of building the map. We need the API key. We're getting the API key from our context, which is provided here from the provider. Okay, so some of that was for me. Actually, all of that was for me, and then hopefully that wasn't too dry if anybody else is out there um, checking anything out. Oh my goodness. Did I? No, no. Okay. The stream on LinkedIn is delayed, and I'm looking at myself here talking, and it's just like my blank desktop, and I was like, "Oh, did I forget to share?" Maybe that's still true. But here in Huddle, my share screen is the code editor. Okay, no, it's just like the very beginning of the stream when I didn't have anything over there. No, it's still sharing. Yeah, no, that's fine. Okay, cool. Little delay there. Okay, so I want to move forward here. I just wanted to go back over kind of how that's working and why it's set up this way. Um, so now I think we can, for the moment, we can just close that tab. We don't have to worry about that component. And then here, what I want to do is actually I want to create a component that works this way, right? Right, thinking about this. So the map here is taking in the zoom and the center coordinate, and then it is wrapping the marker. So yeah, so that's the thing that I kind of want to copy here in the Google Map component. Uh, and to be able to test that we're actually even doing this correctly, I want to open another because we haven't set up started up our environment yet. So npm run dev, and then I use Google Chrome as my browser of choice for development. Even though Courtney suggests Mozilla, and I should probably give that a shot. I'm also back to drinking my Chemex latte instead of the cold press. I'm out of the cold brew from Trader Joe's. I need to get some beans so I can make my old cold brew because it's summer out there and start looking nice. Okay, so we're starting up here. That should all load up here in just a moment. And then, so here in Google Maps, okay, this is good because it's going to give us another chance to look at our props, right? So we're going to have a zoom level and center, I think it was. So then we create an interface props, and zoom is going to be a number, and center is going to be an object with lat number lon number, right? And then so if we take this and we go now, this is what we ran to last time. React FC, and then is that where I had to? This is actually something I needed to. I think I'm close, but not quite. I'm trying to do it from memory, but that might just not be function. Oh, well, it's function syntax. It's a function declaration for the first point. So this would come here. Is that right? Return, and then return void. Ah, man. Okay. Wait, did I have it here? Props? No. Yeah. Let's see. It's so. Let me go back to what I was doing here a second ago. Um, const. Let me convert this real quick. Equals. Jeez. Good grief. There we go. That's what I was trying to do in the first place. Now I just look like a scrub. There we go. Okay, so if we do this, that, and then whoa. I'm just totally screwing this up, aren't I? Okay. The reason it's screaming at me, export default Google Maps, right? Google Map. Did I delete a bracket somewhere that I wasn't supposed to? Let's see, const that equals, yep. And here I am looking again like looking inexperienced with the TypeScript typing thing. I thought it was here. React functional component. Okay. So we're gonna do what we did last time. Learn. I just got to repeat this a few times. I obviously need to study this a bit more, so this is good repeat. How to type a React functional component expression. Okay, so I was so close. Every time I'm so close. React FC, and then to that we pass props. So close. I had all the pieces there, all the building blocks, and I was just not getting. Okay, so we got this now. Missing. Yeah, I know you're missing props. You want zoom and center. Okay. Thanks, Find. In case anybody's wondering, phind.com. It's an excellent AI tool. Okay. So I'm gonna save this. Is that gonna break my page here, my map? It does not yet. Okay. So I have it rendering on screen. So here we're gonna have zoom, which I guess we'll put to 12, and then center, which is going to be an object with lat, number, and lon number. And then those are going to come in through here. We have them typed now. And then, so here's the actual ones that I want to use. Okay. That's a bummer. So let's go here. We'll just there, we'll go there, and then we'll go over here. Put them in there like that. Center 12. I mean, it still isn't doing anything, obviously. So location, let's find location, and instead, let's put our center here, but it's also called center. Is that a problem? I don't know. And here we'll put zoom. Now those are all the same. So it's still running. Center. Okay, and then here for the position, we also need to replace this with center. And refresh, and it's back. Okay, so I'm pretty sure this is all working because that's being the center is being used there. Now that's the center of the map, which if we want to center it on there, we'll be fine. But so we're bringing in the zoom in the center. So let's test this out real quick. Let's go over here. Let's make it something. Let's cut that zoom in half. We're currently looking like this at Minneapolis. Let's go here and save. Bring it back. Refresh. There we go. It's working. Okay. So our props are working. Obviously, we don't want this hard-coded the whole time, but this is just what we have for now. Okay, so we got our location. All that is updated. So then the marker. The marker is the next thing here. So we have marker, new marker. Where's our other markers here? So that's us creating the marker. New marker. Map. And that's our the map there. So we're referencing inside the marker, you're saying to which map you want to, yeah, adding marker into the map. So this map, I want to add a marker at this position inside of the Google map here. So now let's say we wanted to add our marker component. To get rid of one of those issues, we're going to go here and children. Is it React node? Is that what it was in our last one? Let's go check that out. That was provider, right? Yeah, children React node is the type. And we have to import that from there. Okay. So now we can bring in children, and we're going to return. Now this might not be the point. We're actually not passing the children through like usual, right? Like in our, I just cleared it, but provider. Over here, we take in our children, right? And then we pass them through to be rendered. But actually what we want here is we're going to capture the children. Oh, that sounds terrible. Oh boy, I'm going to get clipped out of context. This is awful. No, we're going to take in the child nodes and we're going to pull information out of them. And this is the part that I was most curious about. So let's do something real quick. I want to save, and I've done a bit of stuff here. So I wanted to do some Git updates. How do I want to do this? Type. Okay, so hopefully that'll stop complaining there. So we're gonna commit that whole file, and then we're going to commit that chunk. So we'll just commit everything together because it's all equivalent. It's all doing the same towards the same goal. How do we want to update Google? Right, Google Map. Yeah, update Google Map component to props. To use new props. Yeah, I mean that's what we've done. Cool. Oops. Oh, wrong quote. Single quote. Cool. Okay. So now that we have that, let's go back here and add our marker that doesn't exist yet. We'll come here, we'll uncomment this, and then we'll also misclicks galore. There, that's what I wanted. Maybe there's a faster way to get there, but we'll add children. And the first thing I want to do is I want to console log the children, which means I probably need to actually create the marker component first. Let's just pass a paragraph. This is a marker stand-in. Let's see what happens there. That gets my browser to not be angry with me. And then let's discover this together. So we've got our console over here. We've got our children. Object. Props. Children. Text. Owner. Store. Those are internal. Type of React key. No. Children. Okay, so it's literally just passing the text under the children. It's not like a node list or anything. Type P. Okay, so it's a P tag. It's holding onto the type. There's no ref associated ref, and then it has the text value. Okay. So now what I'm curious is we're going to okay, import React from React. And then we're going to const marker. We'll come back to wait, what am I doing? I just opened a new tab. I didn't open a file. This is just like blank nothingness. So we're going to go to source app components, make a new one called marker.tsx. Then we're going to open that. Now we can import React from React const. I should just copy this instead of deleting it, but const marker equals, and there's going to be stuff in here. Here. I'm just thinking about like what does that marker actually, what does it contain, right? So if we go back and we look at the documentation again, we pass in a position prop. It's an object that's inside that marker. Now, obviously, I could just go and I could look at the code for the marker from their repo, but I'm just curious to try and like process through this. So let's just go one thing at a time. So position, right? And we can props position is going to be lat number lon number take that. And now, do I remember how this is done? Right? We go here, React, FC. This is good practice. Nope, I took the wrong props. Took the wrong thing. Okay. And let's see here. Export default marker. I should spell it right. Type void is not assignable to. Hmm. Look over here. So we've got interface, children, props, interface, React FC. Okay, so I have a. I think I know. Oops. Turn. No, it wants a return statement because it's a React functional component. I made this mistake last week. I delayed the addition of the return statement. It's demanding a return statement. So we'll just do that. So now this marker can take in the position of that type. So now I'm curious to put in marker, import that, and let's see. I think that's what I want right there. Position equals, and then no, backfind to equals, like that. So now we've got our latitude and longitude for the marker being sent into the marker. And the marker isn't even doing anything yet. And I'm not sure if that's correct. Probably not, but we'll find out. But I wanted to see what that, if anything, what that changes for our children now. And children does look different. Symbol, React element, props, position. So inside of children, we have props, position. Ref again, type. This is the type of our param. So it's a function parameter returning let position equals param. Turn null. Okay. Now I could be wrong, but because I mean, at the end of the day, children, right? What we pass in between these tags is just another property, right? It's just children. Just like zoom is zoom, like zoom comes in as a we can see that here. Zoom comes in as a property, center comes in as a property, children comes in as a property, right? It's just data being passed in. You're just passing it here as a tag versus here as and that's why when I first saw this library, I was not confused is the wrong word. I was surprised that it didn't just do like markers and then have an array of like, let's see, jeez, of these objects, right? And then like this, right? That's what I would have expected to see passed into Google Map without passing a component in here. I would have seen this. Now I'm sure this has to do with what this allows you to do is you isolate the marker functionality into its own component, and there's probably more going on with the markers um, in the library than just showing the position. But this would bring in markers as an array. Then inside of here, you'd take markers instead of children, and you can map over them and put markers on the screen. So this is just an interesting alternative way to do the same thing. It's still just being passed in like a property, essentially. Um, oh, here. Okay. So children, again, is just showing up as props dot position, right? So then what does that look like if let's duplicate this and let's change these numbers here to some different numbers, right? Now I've got two markers going in. What does that, how does that update? Now children is an array of objects, and each of those objects has props position. So our individual child, our single one here, is not just this is the element, the component coming in, that child component, and its props, right? The props of that child, and then the data inside of them. And then if we have more than one child, then it's children array. So it's very similar to the way I was showing previously about the position and then passing an array of objects, right? It's doing the same thing. So position. And then I guess one could argue that this is just a little bit more of like a readable syntax. We just put your markers inside your map instead of having to put them inside of another prop here, right? I'm gonna check back in on the stream. It looks like I have two people viewing right now, so that's cool. Yeah, stream is really delayed. This is all the way back at talking about Billy Joel. Interesting. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but okay. I'm curious if anyone has commented anything, because I don't see any comments here in the stream like dashboard. I'm gonna go to the event and see. Um, if you're watching, leave me a comment. Just say hi. Sorry, I'm taking a little bit of a detour here for a moment. Doesn't look like any. That's May 10. Oh, that's the wrong event. Yeah. This is the here, May 17th. There it is. There's live. Oh yeah. Well, thank you, Matthew Bradley, for commenting. Yeah, I don't see that comment here in the dashboard. That's very frustrating. That I mean, maybe it's just a comment on the post. Yeah, okay, it's just on my post. It's not on the stream proper, I guess. Well, shout out Matthew Bradley from the Mixel team for commenting on my post about the event. Okay, we'll check more on that later. Not a big deal. So, okay, now that we have adventured into this, after I kind of go through this process, I am going to go and take a look at what their marker component looks like, because this feels wrong for it to be this simple. But if I mean, it's just trying to we're just trying to transmit or communicate the position of a marker into at least for now. Maybe it has something to do with styling if we get more stuff. But okay, so now we need to take children, which we now know is an array of nodes, and we need to loop over it and make our markers new marker, right? And then add that map to the marker. Okay, so that should be fairly easy, right? We have the map, we have everything set up. We're adding markers here. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to comment this out. Where is this? Where does this belong to? All the way to initialize map. Okay, that's right. So we're going to create something right here, and we're going to take children. For each? Is for each the right thing here? Yeah, because we're not returning anything. We're not mapping. We're not going to return. Yeah, for each marker, we will create const mark new marker, and then we have our map, which is map position. Now, this position is the position of the marker. So actually, what we want each child. So of children, we're mapping over. It's going to get each of those, and each of those has a marker dot props dot position. I think that's what we want to put into position. Um, does that just work? Just save and hope. It does. Look at that. So I scrolled out to find it, but I guess I added a marker near Madison, Madison, South Dakota. um, okay, so that actually just worked that way. So that's all that is. That's kind of cool. That's pretty cool. So we just add markers in that way. Okay, so I wanted to look up. I'm going to go to Google Maps. Sorry. For a second, I saw something pop up on my phone, and I thought maybe it was Courtney trying to get a hold of me. If you're watching Courtney, or not, I just had this sudden thought of like Courtney's trying to tell me something. But okay, so we're gonna look up a couple of locations. Um, we're gonna look up Plot of Coffee on 7th Street in St. Paul. And now, what's the easiest way to get, here we go, Latin Lawn. Copied to clipboard. What did I copy to clipboard? The Latin Lawn. Look at that. Okay. Okay, so make this first position. We'll cut that and put it there. And then I was going to look up something else. What else was I going to look up? Clot of Coffee. What's something else that just comes to mind? Ooh, is it? No, it's ooh, yeah. Am I thinking of the right place? It's been a while since I've actually been there, but so I'm taking too much time on this. Clearly, this is the place. Yeah, there. This is. Uh, sorry, talking to. Okay, that is Oakwood Park, which is one my favorite disc golf course here in the Twin Cities. I love playing at that course. Um, so now I'm going to refresh our map here. We still have that center in the same location, but there is our Clawda Coffee, my favorite coffee shop in the Twin Cities. And then here over in Cottage Grove is uh, Oakwood Park, my favorite disc golf course in the Twin Cities. Um, so be interesting to figure out what would be a nice next step is being able to adjust the center dynamically to include both of those. Mm. Latitude, longitude. Of course, you have to figure out like which one's the furthest north, which one's the furthest south, east, west. But you could do that mathematically, right? Because latitude, right? Cloud of Coffee is further north, so its number is higher, right? Um, it's further west, so its number is larger. So larger numbers go up northwest, smaller numbers go southeast. Um, so you could try and find the most extreme of the two, uh, and then yeah, math. You have to do the math to. I mean, finding them out of the list wouldn't be that hard, and then you have to find the center point, right? And I know that that's just some math to do. I'm not going to do that math on spot on camera at the moment, um, but I've got our markers at our locations, right? That's pretty cool. Not bad, not bad. So I got it to work. Now there's very likely more to this component. This name doesn't even really matter because we're not doing anything with it, right? Do you even have to? Do we have to take the return? Do we just for each of those we create a new marker? At least at the moment, I'm not doing anything with that return. So why use the memory and the syntax? Cool. And then for the center of the map, I'm just gonna pick um, children uh, children of 0 props. Really simply, just grabbing the first one from the list and making the center of our map on the first item in the list. We'll just say that. This is still pretty simple. Um, you want a wider zoom, maybe a list off to the side of all the locations. But um, this isn't really so much for production because I'm not going to. I'll use the library when I actually build the project. But being upskill and chill, I really wanted this to focus on learning. And that's what we've done here, right? So we created the context and the wrapper to bring the API key in so that we can use it out of use map context to grab the API key, right? Which we um, use here to initialize the loader, the Google Maps loader. And then we added to the Google Map the properties for zoom and center. Um, oh, this Yeah, this doesn't work anymore. I must be overriding it here, which is why it actually worked on the screen. But I'm actually, well, it's because I'm not putting it in place, right? I'm not using center anymore to actually go to the center. Um, so here I would be mapping over markers over an array of locations, um, like let's just say, we might get this from an API, but locations, and then let's see where. I mean, they're all right here, right? So if we take, I think I want that 10. Oops, there, and then we go 14 down and go to here. That we go 14 up. Paste. So we have locations, and now instead of doing this here, we do locations map, because now we're returning. And for each location, okay, oops, location, there we go. There. We're going to return a marker. Wow, I just cannot. You get on camera and you become the worst typist in the world. And it was location, right? No, it's position. Position equals, and it's going to be location. And yeah, I was just thinking I need a key, don't I? Key. I guess we'll just. This should be the index, right? If I do that, it should be index. I believe so. Like, yeah. Yep. There we go. Yep. So I get a little drop down. And it's telling me what those are because they're typed, right? Parameter, lat long, and then this one parameter, index number. Yep. Okay. So then that will still work all the same, and it's going to return marker. So then I can just add lat and long there. So those could be pulled from an API, like talked about last time. You could pull the random user API, grab some of those users. They all have a lat and long location associated with them, and you can put them on screen. There's obviously a lot that you need to do when you have multiple locations of like trying to fit them in the screen all at the same time or not, picking out where are you going to center, putting a list of locations on the side. I'm sure that's possible, but figuring out how to go about doing that's like extra feature stuff. Children's possibly null or undefined. Mm-hmm. So you could do a ternary, like if children, then do this, and then provide a backup. So this could be if we go here, we could rename this to default center. And we could go here and say children. If so, then we do that. If not, we use default center. Element implicitly has an any type. What does default center or children? because children is um, or an array of React nodes, right? What has an implicit? Mm, uh, oh, did I just stage something? Oops. Get restore staged. Okay. Why isn't my diagnostic window is supposed to be my NeoVim config and setup needs an overhaul. Let's see. Children is possibly null or undefined. So we could do an if statement. Do question mark here. Yeah, there's a problem here. If I'm only passing one marker, then it's not going to be an array. So then you can't for each over it. So do you need like if do you check the type children? Mm, it's actually a really good question. Do you pull it out before you use it to check it, or what? Or let's see. So my first thought was if children. Hmm, type of children, but then I don't think you can just check for array. It's just going to come back as like an object. You check for length, and if not length, mm-hmm. Okay, interesting, interesting. Okay, let's find out. Let's go back to the original. Um, Non-nullable. Interesting. Another type you could type, but it might be null. I don't want to say that it'll never be null. Okay. It may not always be an array because it might be one marker and then it was not an array. So I was on the right, according to find here, um, I was on the right track. Um, Interesting. I've never seen this before. Um, so again, I'm using find.com as basically just like a glorified search engine. Um, I was asking about this. So we solved the issue of children not being, potentially being null because now it's if children will do this. Um, and now it's saying that, for each, children might be these other things potentially that don't have for each. And find is mentioning this idea of, um, you know, you're encountering now suggests that TypeScript is interpreting children as a primitive type rather than an array of iterable collect or iterable collection. This happens because React children can technically be any renderable content, which may not have the for each thing. So to address this issue, you should ensure that children is treated as an array. And then it suggests this React children for each. Is used instead of for each. React Children provides utilities for dealing with this.props.children regardless of whether it's an array or a single child element. It automatically handles the case where children might be a single element or multiple elements, and that's exactly what I want to cover. It's flexible, safe, consistent, and I've never seen somebody use that before. Whether that's like a good thing, like maybe if I've never seen anybody use it before. React children dot for each, children and child. It has children. It's supposed to be children and child. So I have marker instead. Children implicitly has an any type. Marker implicitly has an any type. Children is declared, but the value is never read. That last one's fine. Just that they have. Um, so children is already being typed here. Actually, it's not saying that I need that included, actually. But then here, that might also need to be a React node. Hmm. Yeah, there's issues here with is it like at each of these steps, is it present or is it not present? I kind of okay. So this React children for each, we're actually passing in our array of children, and then it's going to pass back to us the child that we then put into our callback. Possibly null or undefined. I mean, do we just does not exist on? So just having the same issue, even though I've typed it as a React node. And see, I mean, we're just one step back. We're just nested further in because it's now suggesting I do another conditional check to make sure child is what it's supposed to be, to make sure child isn't null or undefined like here. This gets rid of that, which is something you don't really want to use too much. And then you got the props issue here as well, which I thought the type was supposed to help take care of. Um, yeah, this is kind of odd TypeScript stuff. Because it's suggesting I put another conditional here to check if child is not null and not undefined, then I can go ahead and do this. Um, it just seems nested and gross to me. But maybe this is just, I don't know, what's, oops, does not equal null and does not equal undefined. So yes, but then it's still telling me that props maybe doesn't exist. But I typed the child right here. Okay. Yuck. So if somebody out there is watching this and knows a better way, I would love to see a better way. Um, so that instead of doing this check, we do is valid element. Okay. So is valid element. Object is a React element. And if it's a React element, then it has props. Okay, so that helps to at least eliminate that one level of ick. So instead of checking like if it null, is it undefined, we're checking for what it is, right? And that's what we want it to be, and then it will have the props in the position. Okay, got it, got it. Okay, so we solved that typing issue. Let's see if children. Uh, okay, so again, is no, now it's not that children is going to be is valid element from React. It's whether or not children is going to be an array or not. Now here I'm testing to see if it exists. But but if it exists, maybe it's not an array. Maybe it's just one element, right? So how do I ensure? Um, okay, so this has to do with the fact that I'm typing it as a React node. Um, and a React node can be text, number, it could be anything, right? It's not like a React element or something. Um, so I need to more specifically type children as an array, either a single element or is valid element. So what is let's see, React element types or something like that. Let's see. Here. So we got JSX element, React node, React element. A React element is an object with type, props, and key properties. JSX element is a React element with any. React portal. React node is an element, a string, a number. Okay, so React node is super broad. That's the problem we're running into. Um, this time it was Stack Overflow to help me out here. Um, so I think I actually want a React element here, and maybe that would help to solve all of these problems. So we're checking to see if it's an element. Why don't we just type it as an element, right? So element, an array, cannot find, oh yeah, React element. It's going to be a React element or an array of elements. Let's see if this gets us into trouble or not. Index a React element on its own, right? Um, so this is still a slight problem here, but now here, React children for each. Do I still need this? Possibly null or undefined. Yeah, I mean, we're still checking to see if it's an element, a valid element. and whether or not this is a single or not. Now, if I say it can only be an array of React elements, then we don't have that problem because we're saying it will be an array. But it may not always be an array, which is where we're getting ourselves into trouble. So we could spread children or create a new array based on children. That seems not quite right either. I know I'm past time here. Looks like I still have 2 viewers out there. I feel like that this stream is like drastically behind where I actually am, because that's showing me still talking on Billy Joel, and that's absolutely, this is way too far behind. So I actually don't even know where the stream is sitting currently, but yeah, React Node can be a bunch of different things. That's why, so React Node is too broad because I do want to lock it down to a marker. Um, children. Hmm, oh, array of children type has a type of props. Hmm. I want to look up this React.children thing. This article here. Or React itself is saying using children, this this object. What is it? This object specifically right here. This thing. But that is uncommon and can lead to fragile code. Was children.count, which will count the number of children in the children data structure, returns a number. Hmm. Yeah, this thing does seem kind of fragile because there's a caveat around even just using children.count. Hmm. Maybe this is why I've never seen anybody use it. Maybe we're finding an answer to that right now. So look at this from Netlify now, saying React children, the misunderstood prop. Children are props. Props way. Pass ID, pass props, right? Like I said before. If you want to make our button say more than just children, you can pass children to it. Button, children. By position. Oh, interesting. Hmm. So maybe this is what I want. React children to array. But this still said over here, like, look, this is the React documentation. Pitfall: using children is uncommon and can lead to fragile code. Common alternatives. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of starting to sound like passing in stuff through a specific prop like this, as opposed to putting it in as children, is a better pattern. But this is what the library does, which is why I went down this road. I wouldn't have done this myself. What alternatives? So these are the alternatives, I suppose. Hmm. Odd. Very odd. Huh. Okay. I don't really want to be doing this. Um, can I go back to children for each? We're going to check here. So we're checking if children, and then now here I have it as yeah, but what if it's potentially just yeah, because you can't necessarily select. Mm. I gotta admit, um, my brain's getting a little tired on this. I'm been here for a little bit, and think I'm just starting to think in circles just a little bit. Haven't taken a break. Oh wow, we are a half hour past. Holy smokes! Yeah, this might just be a problem I have to solve next time, or I can think about it outside of stream. Um, uh, okay, so if it might just be as straightforward as that's really verbose, like right there in the line, though. So, well, okay, so children is optional. That's a good point here. Um, could make all of these optional. It doesn't really matter. Children can be optional, is one thing it's saying here. We have the type, and then this is defaulting children. It's adding a default value to children as an array. Okay, and then so talk about the default center thing here. Um, const, we'll just say const center, and we're gonna do this. And yeah, it's gonna give me the Okay. It's just saying that, obviously, that length may not exist on children. Um, who knew dealing with, well, as a father, I was about to say, who knew dealing with children was so difficult? And as a father of two, I can tell you, yes, dealing with children is difficult, I guess, in coding and in real life. Um, I don't know. Do you do something like? Do you find a way to force it to be an array? You just do children, array from, but then again, maybe you can't just because that might not be. Uh, what if? I have this long convoluted like thing in here, but maybe this is necessary after all. I'm gonna copy this here, and so it's this type of children equals object, and children does not equal null. If that's true, then we're checking if array is an array, if children is an array. If that's true, a nested ternary. This is disgusting. Um, then you can access this. Otherwise, oofta. That's gross. It's really gross. Um, but then, let's see. Be back to. Yeah, I mean, because these are the conditions, right? That's just really gross. And here, I mean, could we? So we're checking to see if it's an array first. And if it's an array or not. And then using it. I mean, this is just for the center, but if we have something similar down here, so this is a React element. That's funny. Okay. Could you do something like const children is array, and then you here, let's cut that out. That null is just a placeholder. So type of children equals object, and children does not equal null. Or do we just, can you just check? Can you just check directly, like if it's an array? We just simplify it to that. So children is an array. I mean, well, then you could just do, I'm curious as to why. Expression expected. I don't need this. Right. It is. The other one was checking is an object and is not null. Then we check to see if it's an array. I mean, does this work though? Just say it's, is children an array or not? If not, then we're just going to use that default center. But then can't we? So the reason I was doing this was so I could do it down here. So we could, do that check once and then use it in a couple places. So if children is an array, else we're going to go here, here. We'll create a new marker from that map. And then how did that? So if it was just a single item, then we go props position. Yeah, children props position. So that was a lot of going all over the place. But I think that's the final idea, is just like checking it to see if it is in fact an array. And I forgot about this array.isArray option for easily these, like the array and the map or object. Those are incredibly useful, and I keep forgetting about them. I use array from to make new copies of arrays. That's one pattern I do remember and use frequently. But the is array is very useful. So children is an array or not. Very useful. And then we have our default center based on if there are children or not. And then we also use that again to check if it's an array. And then if it's an array, then we can loop over it. And now all of these really React element, but React element's the one that does have props. Oh, but we could type the props. It is a React element. Yeah, each of those is a React element. What just happened? That's not what I was asking for then. Props is of type unknown. I don't have that problem with React Node. Let's check back in on this. Oops, on this again real quick, and then I'll be done here. But object with type props and all this, okay. And then React Node is a React element, string number, any of those. So React Node could be a React element or all these other things. Type. Okay. Child props. Let's talk about that not having a type. It's valid element. It's working. I've gone way over time, almost 2 hours here actually. Wow, that flew by. That was good. That was some good digging. And again, this is why I wanted to do this. I wanted to look into how to do it. Can we do it? Um, how to make it happen. And then, per usual, learn some new things about TypeScript and how to deal with TypeScript. And we learned, React element versus React Node, and kind of learn this idea about the children and how they're kind of a tricky way to do things. So if I was building this again, I don't think I would do this syntax. I would send into the Google Map thing here. I would send like locations or positions or markers or something as an array. That way, it would default to being an array. It'd be more controllable. We wouldn't have to deal with the silliness that is the children object. Um, oh, and actually, here we're doing if it's an array, but then if it's not an array, we're just disregarding it. Children Um, so here it exists and it is an array. Uh, I think that's the point of that longer check, to check that it's not null, um, and then still be able to use because you have to check if it is. I wanted to use like the children as the default instead of going to the default, right? So that's where the nested part of this comes in. Is like, is it there, and is it an array? If or is it there and not an array, or is it not there at all? So if children is an array, then we'll do this. Else, um, children I mean, yeah, this is kind of that's the whole point of this one. So if we kind of go back to well, I think do type of children equals object, and children does not equal null. So we'll return um, right. So if children is an object and it does not equal null, then we'll return true. Otherwise, we'll return false. So then this whole thing is um, children is not null? Question mark. And then we have, is it an array? If it is, we use this. Otherwise, we'll use children dot props position. So yeah, is it not null? If that's false, then we're going to use default center. Is children not null? Is it an array? If it is an array, then we use the position of the first one. Otherwise, we'll just use the position because it's not an array. Okay, this is a little bit more readable. It's still gross because nested ternaries are never pleasant. Um, but why is this down here? Is that doing that on purpose? Okay. But at least now that does handle those cases. Okay. Yeah, I gotta wrap this up. Let's see. Add marker component. Um, So then, um, logic for default map center. That maybe isn't a great get message. Um, um, add marker positions to map handle, oops, handle case where children is single element or array of elements. Yeah, I'm getting. Ooh, um, and then what did I do here? This was sure. Okay, so that was all very interesting. That was really fun. That was really cool. Uh, ran into several roadblocks there, but did some digging and some searching. And that's what Upskill and Chill is about, right? Like this is not, like I said at the beginning, this is not about throwing, downloading a npm library into your project and then just using it. Like I'm trying to actually recreate what I'm seeing in that project, and understanding maybe a process for how to do it. Now it would be interesting to go and open up their map and their marker components from that project and actually see what those look like on their end. But um, not at the moment. My eyes are real tired after that one. Like that was a bit, a little bit of AI tool searching. I find that find.com to be pretty helpful. It doesn't always have the answers, but it's the best one that I've used so far that gives like pretty good answers back, and it'll give you the documentation it's citing from as well, which is very helpful. Um, yeah, that was very interesting. Very interesting. What are we thinking about this? Because I kind of I found the solution here, or a solution. Um, yeah, it's neat. It's very neat. Um, the next thing that would be interesting is I know that library you can customize the markers. Um, you can customize the style and the look of them. You can also customize box, like a pop up above the marker, right? That you can like click on the marker and it gives you some info. That'd be very interesting to try and recreate something like that. Um, or that idea again of like boxing in your position based on the math of the Latin lawn to like include everything. Um, yeah, very interesting. Lot to do there. Lot learned. Very interesting stuff. But yeah, it's time to be done. I think I went for a solid 2 hours, which is fine. You know, I had the time to be able to just dig into this stuff and chill with it for a bit. So I really enjoyed that. That was cool. I really enjoy, as my last thought, I really enjoy, and this isn't even like super deep, but like the deeper idea of like writing and creating libraries or these services or frameworks, how that all works behind the scenes, not just in using the item itself and understanding more of these deeper concepts. I always find those. I like digging deeper and deeper and deeper into these subjects. So this was really really fun. Um, Hopefully somebody out there learned something, and maybe I can make some posts out of this video content. Uh, we'll see. But yeah, thanks for joining me today, and tune in next week. Courtney should be back, and this will be a lot easier having the back and forth conversation with two people. I'm really looking forward to that, and hearing about how his tour in Europe went, which is really cool. So have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you again next Friday. Thanks a lot for tuning in.